I think overall for Arizona and Jed Fish, they got a lot of new talent, right? They've got, I think it's 24 new faces that we saw in spring football. Of course, the headliners, Jaden DeLora, Tetaroa, McMillan, Noah Fafita, Kean Burnett, a lot of talent, right? And I think you got to score points. Jed Fish believes in you got to score points, let alone Big Jonah 7, Ayaya at the offensive lineman. You see the youth, right? And then you see some of the portal guys, right? I referenced DeLora, Jacob Cowing. On the defensive side, didn't see all the players there, but they added some of the linebacker position. Overall, it's just a team that's different than they were last year. It's a different program. It's a different team. They're going to have for 40 new scholarship players in training camp than they did last year at the end of the season. I mean, this is where you are in college football, especially when you're building a program. So I see a talented team. I see a build that the trajectory is only going up. If you think about it, nobody's talking about their record. They're talking about the talent, the staff, the excitement, the buzz. So yeah, they got to turn it into wins, but I think they are. And when you talk to the staff, they really look at this year as year one. Last year's kind of a year zero. They finally got a recruiting class. They got their system installed. They found a quarterback. They kind of found their way a little bit. So it's going to be intriguing when you watch them head into training camp.
And here in Tempe with the Sun Devils, a lot of change as well, but you have still a really solid front seven. You have some running backs that, excite a lot. But what was the big takeaway in Tempe here?
Well, I think the biggest thing when I started to prepare for the spring game, and I called the Territorial Cup, so the final regular season game, and then since then, really the news was opt-outs, guys going to the draft, and of course everything around the pending NCAA investigation and coaching changes. So you forget about the roster. And then I went and looked at the depth chart in preparation for this spring showcase, and I'm like, front seven is in the conversation one of the best in the league, right? These wide receivers, Ricky Pearsall's played a lot of football. This class, you look at some of the young guys that are now in their third year, whether it's Chad Johnson Jr., Elijah Badger, Andre Johnson, can they elevate and become that number two? And then you look at the tight end group, 6'4", 6'7", 6'5" across the board. I think that's the biggest thing that being here when it comes to football. So you look at it and you're like, the cupboard is not bare. This team's got talent. They got to replace some guys in the back end, but they all played in the bowl game because of the opt-outs regarding the players that eventually ended up at the NFL Combine. So they got to figure out quarterback, which Herm knows that. I think they will. They're going to possibly add to it via the portal, add to competition. But I think it's the team, if they can figure out QB, they can make some noise this year in the Pac-12 South.
When you look at these two teams, is there a player that nobody's talking about quite yet, but you have a feeling this upcoming season, maybe the following season, it's going to be a household name in the Pac-12 and in the nation?
Well, I think here it's Jermaine Lole because he was that 2 years ago, right? He didn't play last year for a variety of reasons, as you know. He's an All-American candidate. So I look forward to him. And Merlin Robertson, he came on as a freshman All-American, and Donnie Henderson came on our show tonight and talked about him and said, after his freshman year, he went through some ups and downs. And he's been the most impressive player on defense this spring, according to him. So I look forward to probably watching those two guys. Jordan Clark is another one. I referenced Elijah Badger. I can't wait to watch him play. He's got just raw skills, and I know within this system, especially if they can run the ball, create some play-action element, he's a guy that can stretch the field. He can make some big plays. I know Herm is very high on him. So that'd be here at Arizona State. I think for Jed Fish at the U of A, there's so many, right? Like Tetaroa McMillan is the obvious one, right? He is unique. I think walking into the season, he's an all-conference preseason candidate for me, right now. I'm going to go see the majority of the teams in spring ball, but I think by the end of the year, he's got a chance to be an all-conference player. I think he's got that skill set. Kean Burnett, he made a big play in the scrimmage for a touchdown in their spring game. He's another guy I think will have an influence. Big Jonah, right? Jonah Savignyea on the offensive line. And then little Jonah Coleman at running back. He's made a lot of noise. So I'm probably looking forward to those guys. And then defensively, who can become that leader for that defense? I'm not sure, right? Is it Hunter Echols coming off the edge? Is it Johnny Nansen in new defense? They want to kind of be Utah. That's going to be the scheme that we're going to see, a 4-2-5 type of defense. So there's questions there. Their schedule, both teams' schedules are not easy. You're not rolling out and looking at win. It's going to be competitive. Can you make a couple plays to get those wins? And that's going to be decided by probably some of those players we talked about.